Friday morning, can't control it. Fired up and counting every minute. Hands are shaking, eyes are burning. The time has come, yeah, this is not a warning. The week was just so long, we had to let it go. Our problems disappeared, we're not tied up anymore. The weekend is here. Sunday calls, we are sick and tired of it. Up and down, can you feel it? Up and down.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Johansson show. I'm joined by the Playboy Prince himself, Lance Revera. Lance, thank you for coming on.
Hello, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Just getting by.
It's a nightmare, isn't it? Everything that's been going on, it's been frustrating, and it's weird. Like we've been obviously chatting over the past week or whatever, and then just before now as well. What have you been doing with your time with lockdown?
Well, I've mainly just been working, and then between that, when we were allowed to go outside, I was playing a little bit of football. That was what was getting me by, and then we're not allowed to see anybody now. So a lot of Netflix and mainly lifting weights that I've got in my house.
So Netflix without watching Karate Kid.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up. So I've just found out Lance has never watched Karate Kid, and I think he really needs to have a word with his mum as to why she never introduced it to him as a kid.
Do you know what? I don't think it's something my mum's ever watched. It'd probably come more through my sister, because she was the one who showed me Goonies and everything like that when I was really young.
See, I like your sister. Your sister's all right then.
But it's just one of those that's never appeared, never come through.
I still, you definitely need to check it out. I think even not growing up, I reckon you'd still appreciate it. And I think I always say it to the missus, the missus has never seen Goonies.
How have you never watched Goonies?
I know. I'm like, how have you not watched Goonies? And then she was on about with Hocus Pocus. And I was like, these are what my childhood was built on. I was like, what?
Bloody hell.
What
That's
you know?
worse than me. She needs to have a word with her mum.
I reckon it's an even playing field there.
What? She's not seen Goonies and Hocus Pocus, and we're rolling them into the same level as Karate Kid?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's how good Karate Kid is on its own.
Oh, to me, yeah. I think it was the first fancy dress party I remember I went as Karate Kid.
So you went in a man and a gay?
Yeah. To be fair, at the time I was doing karate, so I was like, oh, it's great. And I was no longer on the white belt, so I got the white belt coloured in a red, one of the red marks for the Japan and wrapped it around my head.
Oh my god.
Got to be committed to it.
Oh my god, we need a picture of that.
I'll have to try and see if my mum's got something. What have you been watching on Netflix?
Well, I watched the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance.
So good.
That was amazing. I never got on the Tiger King hype. That was something I never got into.
Me neither.
Oh, there we go. At least someone didn't.
I didn't even give it a try, to be honest. I
No,
was
I didn't either.
from everything I saw, the pictures and stuff, I was like, and I'm one where I'll happily sit and watch trash TV with the missus. I was like, but I'm not even watching that.
No, it just didn't rub me up the right way.
No.
Especially with all the animals. I was like, I'm not watching animal cruelty for the sake of it.
Yeah, exactly. What else have you been watching?
I've recently got on One Division. That's been my favourite thing.
So good.
Oh, it's been helping me get through everything at the moment.
Have you seen the latest episode?
Yes, I have. The one that came out yesterday.
We'll talk about it because this probably won't be released for a couple of weeks. And if somebody hasn't seen episode 5 of One Division for a couple of weeks, then it's your own fault.
No, it is their own fault.
If you haven't, then maybe mute us and have a look in the description, and I'll let you know when you can listen again. What was your thoughts on it?
I thought it was amazing.
So many questions.
I don't know how they've brought Evan Peters into it. I think there's going to be something with her opening up different dimensions with her powers.
Yeah.
And it's just she's accidentally doing everything. And
yeah, I think because obviously you've got Doctor Strange's next film where it's around the multiverse, and you've got Spider-Man where it seems like they're going to have Tobey Maguire and who's the other one?
Andrew Garfield.
That's the one. Nobody remembers him.
I love his films. I think this is such a bad dig at him that he wasn't that bad. I
just
think he's a better Spider-Man than Tom Holland is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think his films were a lot better than Tom Holland's. We could go on. We could make a whole podcast on why I hate Tom Holland's Spider-Man films.
We'll
I
definitely have to do that.
My poor friends have listened to me rant about it so many times about how he's not Spider-Man and he's just Iron Man light, and that's not what Spider-Man ever was meant to be.
Yeah, I think they've skipped Spider-Man with like the dumbed down suits, like what we've seen in the last couple, and gone straight to here's Tony Stark boosting you with all this robotic shit.
Yeah, I know, but the whole idea is that he makes his own costume because
Yeah.
he's that ground level hero, and then they've just gone, "Nah, here you go. Tony Stark gives it to you," and then, oh no, I'll go just rant forever. But the whole thing with Uncle Ben, where the only thing that he's got of Uncle Ben's is that suitcase, it gets blown up in Europe, and he just goes, "Oh no, I don't. I've lost my suitcase." And his aunt's like, "Yeah, whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. He had his initials on it or anything, and it's his, and he's dead." Who is he? He never existed in this. I swear that he was just like some absent person in this. Like, do you know like that cousin you've met once
Yeah.
ever, and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm related to him, but I don't know him. I feel
Yeah.
like that's how they've treated Uncle Ben.
Oh, definitely. Like you don't hear anything of him, but that was like such a driving force in like the older films. And
Yeah,
I think they wanted, hey, fair time lucky, let's try something different. But it's I like it, but I do get that it's hard to relate to. Like
yeah,
when in the other films he's that nerdy underdog kid, essentially, but
yeah.
it's hard to feel like as if you can relate to somebody or feel like they're not in danger when they have a suit built in for kill mode.
He's got no threat against him at all. Because even in the first one, when he messed everything up, Iron Man was just like, "Yeah, I'll fix it. Don't you worry, kid. I'll fix this."
Yeah.
And then in the second one, it's like he's got Eve, and then it's like even in death, I'm the hero. Iron Man's still there looking after him. There is no consequences for Peter Parker in the MCU films at all. The
No.
only thing that was consequential was that he got snapped out of existence, and even that didn't change him.
um, like going back to the WandaVision, then I genuinely feel it's probably emotion triggered because she's using more energy than what she's ever used before with the whole mind control and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and with the force field and stuff. So I wonder if when they've mentioned her brother and he's like a long way from here,
Hmm.
I think it's probably she's ripped it open without
Yeah.
realizing, and he's come through, and I think we'll see Strange explore a little bit more. Did you get the engineer reference?
Yeah, that it was Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Oh, I got so excited. I was like, oh my God. And I saw an interesting theory that in the final episode that she's going to melt down and send out some kind of mad explosion or something that's
Mm.
going to cause radiation, and people are thinking that's going to be the cosmic radiation that gives the Fantastic Four their powers.
Ooh, potentially, because I've heard that when they get introduced, it may not be as powered superheroes, whereas
Yeah.
obviously the mutants are going to come through, and they are who they are. That'd be an interesting one, but I still think she's got I like her. Like I think she's got a lot more legs, and maybe this one melts down and a different one from a different universe takes her place. I guess. I guess
Maybe.
it could always.
Because in the House of M as well, she makes her own universe. She
Yeah.
creates her own dimension, and it's all that's basically what this is at the moment. And it just goes from there, and she snaps all the mutants out of existence. So me and my friend were theorizing that it might be interesting if she tries to get rid of the Avengers,
Ooh, potentially.
because she might blame them for what's happened.
Yeah. It's
Obviously, it
gonna.
links into Doctor Strange as well. So
Yeah. I can't wait to see. I'm hoping we'll get a good Doctor Doom. Like we need a good Doom.
I always liked the costume in the original ones. Because it was very similar to what the comics were, but I'm hoping that we get something real that's substantial for him to be a real villain for the rest of the MCU.
They don't really have good villains in the MCU, to be honest. Like Thanos was great and was a breath of fresh air, but I think there's been so many underwhelming ones. Like look at Mads Mikkelsen in the original Doctor Strange. Like he'd have been a great Doom. He'd
Yeah,
have been fantastic for Doom, and they just wasted him with some shit character in Strange.
I think the big issue is as well, they always end up killing them off in the end.
Yep.
So, like, with the, oh, his name escapes me at the moment, but the villain for Black Panther, I can't remember Killmonger, that was it.
Hmm.
They kill him off in the end, and he was probably the most interesting villain they've had. Baron Zemos was interesting from Civil War, and he lived through it, and he's coming back for Falcon and Winter Soldier, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, there's just so much going on, and it frustrates me that people complain about the show. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
I don't know what's happening. You're not supposed to know what's happening.
my brother messaged me saying, "Oh, it's far too slow. It's just nothing's happening," and I was like, "That's the point. You've got to wait. It's a slow burn. Just
Yeah,
wait for something to happen." Because it was happening at the end of each episode, and you could
yeah.
see it was building to something. And it was like, what? Why can't you not just see that it's going somewhere?
Where we think Wanda's trapped, but actually, no, she's the one controlling all of it. And
Oh, I thought that straight away was that mainly because of my knowledge of the comics. I was like, she's definitely done this herself.
yeah,
I like how I pushed my glasses up while I said that. I sounded like a right nerd.
and
Oh no,
I
comic knowledge.
might have to put my hand back on for it. So yeah, regarding the comics,
No, I was well on board that she'd done it all herself.
nice. I've not really, because I've not read House of M. I've not really seen much of the Avengers. When it comes to the comics, I've read Hickman's series of Avengers and New Avengers,
Yeah,
which essentially led up to the Infinity Wars and stuff. And I've not read post that where, because it builds to kind of like the reset of the Marvel universe and
yeah,
whatever. I think after going through the massive comic, which was Infinity War and Endgame, like it was just too much. I was like,
oh
I'm
yeah,
burnt out. But I mainly read like DC. I really enjoyed New 52's Justice League. I thought
yeah.
that was really well done. But nah, just so excited. I think regarding the criticism, I just think it's what society's become
Yeah.
with wanting everything straight away and people not wanting to be confused. It's like wrestling. Oh, why are they
Oh
doing
yeah,
this? Oh, that doesn't make sense. Well, if you let them tell the story, and then when you look back, yeah, that does make sense actually,
yeah,
because
exactly.
they're trying to slowly like build up rather than just blow the load straight away, which people then complain about anyways.
Oh, exactly. You don't want something that's straight away that it's there. You just want something to build and build
Yeah,
because then the payoff's even better.
exactly.
But it's like Rock and Austin. They hardly ever touched each other for years, and then when they did, it was always a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. And like I can't remember which mania I'm crap when it comes to the numbers, but where they played My Way over, and that just
Oh,
shows like
yeah.
the suspense that gets built for it, and so good.
And like I was watching rivalries on the network last night of
Yeah,
Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys, and the build that they had leading into TLC. I think it was two. TLC two at WrestleMania 17. It was mad because they had the first ever tag team ladder match, then they had the triangle ladder match, and it just kept building and
yeah.
building. And you just don't get anything that builds like that to where people are really excited.
No, I think, and it's the things with, for example, like everyone was like, oh, there's not much happening with Kenny Omega. I don't know if you watch AEW, but
Oh, I do, yeah.
people, not much happening with Kenny Omega. The whole Don Callis thing happens, and when you look back, there's been all these subtle hints where
Yeah.
it's been that slow build because look at everybody's reaction to Cody because Cody was booked strong. Even though he wasn't at the same. It wasn't as if he was like Jeff Jarrett in it and being like the world champion right constantly. And people would complain about that, but then they complain, well, they're not doing anything with Young Bucks or Omega, and it's like, well, if they did, you'd complain that the VP's getting pushed.
Yeah,
And
I've said this.
It is that slow build where I think it's been more organic. Like with Bucks, you don't know if they're face or heel at the moment. It's like kind of like in between, and I prefer that storytelling. And the only storytelling similar that I thought was amazing would have been Lucha Underground with Pentagon and Vampiro. From what I don't know if you watched Lucha Underground, but
I've watched it a long time.
Their story was phenomenal, which led to Vampiro vs Pentagon, and it was just that storytelling, like,
Yeah.
And yeah, wrestling fans don't like waiting, like, and with on-demand television where people can just binge box sets, and I think we've been quite lucky the fact that most TV shows, like, here's it all, like, go enjoy it. People can just binge it in one day.
I was hoping for that with WandaVision. I keep saying this that I want it, I want the next episode now, but obviously it's better to wait for it because, in all honesty, it's helped me get through lockdown. This third one, because it's something to look forward to.
Exactly, and I think we've lost that in all of TV, like episodic television, where yes, I'd have preferred it, but I don't think I'd have appreciated it as much. I don't think I'd appreciate episode 6 if I could watch it straight after episode 5, because it's not building that suspense for you.
It was the same with The Mandalorian as well, when Boba Fett turned up.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't watch the next episode to be like, oh my god, what's going to happen with Boba Fett turning up? And how has he got out of the Sarlacc pit? What's this about? All these questions. You had to wait.
I'm only on episode 2.
Oh no!
No, I'm kidding.
To be fair, I was going to say, well, if we're going to tell them that it's their own fault.
Whoa, mate, I've got a 3-month-old daughter. I'd have an excuse to get behind.
Oh shit, you made me worry then. Fucking hell. I thought I ruined it all.
Could probably talk through TV and stuff for ages, so we can get back to that like on a future show. But like, we hear about yourself, like your wrestling career so far, and where did the Playboy Prince come from?
Well, basically,
mates with you.
Yeah, no, I'm best mates. I was at his funeral, everything. I inherited his house. Look. No, basically, when I was first starting out on shows, when I was about 16, I was at training one day because I was struggling for a character, really. I just started. I was fresh-faced 16, and I was doing a training drill, and my friend just called me the Playboy Prince, and I was like, "That's strange." And then I thought, "Hold on."
Did you always carry around Playboy with you?
No, I didn't. Nothing.
One minute, boys, I'm off the toilet. Carries his magazine through.
No, I was always a big Dolph Ziggler fan. So that whole pretty boy kind of thing came from that, I think. And my friend just said it in training. Matt Fox, who is currently, I believe, he is the PWI heavyweight champion at the moment. He said it to me in training, and I was like, "That sounds really cool," because I had my whole name, the whole Lance Revera name. He just needed that extra bit, and he just said it, and I went, "Right, that's mine now. I'm having it." And it was just a throwaway comment, like just as a joke, because he was just saying loads of random things. Obviously, I think he was just doing it on purpose to try and give me some idea, but he just said it, and I rolled with it.
Ah, nice. How has that affected your character? Did you have to change anything to kind of live up to that persona, or was you already doing it?
I wasn't really doing it because I'd only been on about 1 or 2 shows at that point. So it was just a case of finding what I needed to do to be the Playboy Prince.
Yeah.
And it helped that I had 2 managers that were both women. So that helped. I could play off that. Yeah. And because I was 16, we made it the joke that he's 16, what's he doing? And then obviously as I've got older, it's not being as much of a he's 16, go away kind of thing. It's more I've grown up now and I'm 21, and people
I'm
take
a
me
real boy. Come here.
just people take me a bit more seriously now when I say it.
Yeah.
I don't have that puppy dog eye. Oh, yeah, no, I'm dead innocent, me. No, I'm
Who
for...
was it that was managing you?
So, one of the girls was called Neva, and she's now left wrestling, to grow up, basically, because she was slightly younger than me, but she's gone away to do other things.
Yeah.
And then she's gone to uni, basically. I thought I'd give a bit more context to it. And then I had Stacey Rose, who still manages me now.
Yeah, she was on your episode with Broken But Glorious, right?
Yes, she was, yeah. She
Yeah.
was on the front line one, yeah.
So how does her character play into yours then, with you being, again, this Playboy Prince?
Well, usually we play it like it's like that Selena Vega kind of Andrade role where you think, could they be together? Are they not together? That kind of vibe. But then when you go to wrestling for you, the whole idea is that she is my girlfriend. I am the Playboy Prince kind of thing. This is what this is, and that's building to something down the road. And that was, but we've only had the 2 matches for Pro Wrestling for You because obviously with lockdown and everything, it got cut short.
Yeah.
So I had a match with Dave Del Vecchio, Pro Wrestling for You in Stoke. And basically we had this big match. Stacey was getting involved, helping me try to win. I lost in the end. Dave cut this promo. He was like, "Oh, I like you and I like what you're doing, but you need to ditch your girlfriend," kind of thing. And it's kind of building from there.
Yeah. Don't ditch the girlfriend. How did you even get started in wrestling?
Oh, basically when I was growing up, I've got the video right there actually in front of me. It's I had the video of The Rock, the People's Champion.
Yeah.
Basically it's just highlights of The Rock's matches that were like on Raw. I think one of them was from King of the Ring and the SummerSlam as well against Billy Gunn. But then it like takes you through what he does in the day.
Yeah.
So it like shows you where he goes and gets his hair cut, him just wandering around doing stuff. It's a bit of a strange one because he's like, this is where The Rock gets his $5,000 shirts, and it like has that proper 90s cutting back to wrestling. So it's like him talking. It's like something you'd see on MTV back in the day.
Yeah.
So it's like him going, "Here's the shirt that I bought," and then it shows him throwing Triple H off the top rope in their cage match on Raw, and it's like that smash cutting back and forth. It's a bit of a strange one, but that was where I really fell in love with everything because my brother used to sit and watch it. I used to watch it with him. I was a big fan of The Rock, and my sister said to me when I was young, "You said, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I went, "The Rock." She was like, "You can't be The Rock," and I went, "No, I'm going to be The Rock."
How do they take it now then when your sister's like, "Nah, you can't be The Rock," and your brother was a fan of wrestling, and here you are actually doing it?
My sister just takes the mick out of me really for it because it's like, why are you wearing lycra and going out wrestling a ring with your top off? My brother doesn't really take too much notice of it. He like messages me every now and again saying, "Oh, look at this! How cool's that you've done?" But yeah, on a whole, they're just like, "Yeah, it's just the norm now." It was never like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" It was just like, "Oh, he's 16, he'll grow out of it." And now I'm 21, and I'm like, okay, well, I've been to Belgium now. I don't think there's any going back.
You mentioned it. I was going to save it for later, but you mentioned Belgium. How did that come about?
Basically, it was they came to a training session at the school I used to train at. I wasn't there that day, but they said how they liked the people who were there, the trainees and everything. And 2 of the trainees that were there got asked to go. And I'd met them before, the promoters, at a booking that I had in Birmingham. We spoke a little bit there. And then out of the blue one day, I was going home, and I got a message saying in a group chat with me, Rabid Riley, and Casey Payne, and they said, we've got this show in February of 2020, so it was 2019 when they messaged me.
Yeah.
And said, would you like to come over and work this show? This is how much the flights would be and everything like that. And this is the flights we'd ideally like you to get. And we were like, okay, right, awesome. And we all came back. I think I was the first one to message back going, yep, I'm coming. I'll come tomorrow if you want. So that's how that came about. They just messaged me out of the blue and said, yeah, we'd love to have you over.
How does that feel like working? Spoke about before when I was in Africa and I was coaching football. Trying to coach football when you don't speak their language was a bit difficult. How did you adapt to going to Belgium and wrestle?
Well, it wasn't actually too bad because they spoke. I think they spoke Dutch mainly as a first language, but they also spoke English, so everyone kind of understood what I was saying. Well, on the most part, they did. There was we did take a training session. There was one lad who he didn't speak English at all, and we kind of had to. We got some of the other lads who were unbelievable. They were able to translate what we were saying for him, and we kind of had to break it down and kind of show him what we wanted to do, and then implement it that way.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a challenge, but it wasn't too bad. But then when we were working on the show as well, I felt like most people understood English even on just a base level. Someone started chanting Brexit at me. Like, I that was the day I realised that England was a joke for Brexit on the continent, and I was like, I turned around and went, I didn't vote for it. I was too young. I'm like, it's not me. I was the bad guy, and I thought I should play into this, but I was like, no, I'm actually offended. I don't know what to do. I've got nothing. I had no say.
So was you actually delivering a training session then?
Yeah, me, Rabid Riley, and Casey Payne took a training session over there, and we were able to. We just ran them through like some basic stuff that we did on a regular basis, and we're just going through that, and they seem to absolutely love it.
Was that the first time you've put on a coaching session?
Myself, yeah, that was the first time I'd done it. Rabid Riley used to train the junior class. We used to train. He used to take that regularly, and he's unbelievable with teaching.
Yeah.
But me and Casey Payne had not done it at all. I've done a few things, like I've worked with kids in the past as my actual job.
Yeah.
So I had some idea on how to get through things, like how to deliver it, how to talk and whatnot. But I ended up being like the dummy for showing the drills and everything. And I remember I did this running drill too fast. Even in my head, I was like, I've ran too fast because I was getting used to the ropes.
Yeah.
And I was bulleting across the ring, and I just heard one of the lads go, "We don't have to do it that fast, do we?" Freddie Rabbi Riley turned around and just looked at him and went, no, he's just being a knob.
What do you feel like you learned from that experience then? Because not only is it delivering a session, but again, I know people still speak English, but my international interviews, got to try and slow it down and make sure you're not really using slang and stuff like that. What do you think you learned from delivering that training session?
I did pick that up a lot when I was in Belgium, just in general, not to use as much slang. I was in the airport, and me and Lewis Casey Payne, it's one of our favourite moments to talk about. We go into this shop and it's full of touristy stuff, your magnets you get. It's like, oh, welcome to Belgium, and you take it home and you give it to your mum or whatever. And this woman behind the counter just goes, "Bonjour," and I just went, "Are you all right?" Just this proper northern, "Are you all right? How you doing?" She was just like, "What?" Lewis just burst out laughing, like absolutely crying, and I'm just like, he's like, I never realised how northern you were till today. I'm just like, yeah. I don't know what in my head thought. Yeah, this is a good idea, just to go. Oh yeah, you're all right. How you doing? And she was so confused, bless her. She had to tell me she didn't speak English, and I was like, oh, okay. She spoke French, and that was it.
And then you hear her speak English to the next person, it just turns out she just doesn't speak Northern.
Yeah, exactly. She was like, no, I don't speak Northern at all. Southern maybe if you give me the Queen's English.
Was you working one of the lads from Belgium then?
I was, yeah, I was. He spoke really good English. His name
Yeah.
was Plague Sullivan. He was lovely. He said to me, he was like, oh, I was really nervous for this at first, but I was like, same. We were just looking at each other like we were absolutely shitting ourselves because he was like, because obviously I'd come over to take the training session,
Yeah.
so I think that kind of that played into it. But I was just nervous because I was like, what if he doesn't speak English? What if I've got to start like showing what I wanted to do in interpretive dance or something to because I had no idea how to speak. I don't speak any other language other than English, which is probably quite ignorant of me. But
You know what? It's a country as a whole. Like that's what I've realised from doing these interviews. We are such an ignorant country.
yeah,
Like when I'm speaking to people from say like Taiwan or Philippines and they're speaking, I'm like, you speak better English than half my customers at work.
I thought that when I was over there, I was like, you all speak better English than half the people who live around my area.
Yeah, and I just couldn't. I can't believe it. And when I've spoke to some people, I'm like, oh yeah, well we'll start studying English from I think it'd be like from being about 6 or 7 in school, and they're already starting to learn English, and then English will be treated just as much as their like common language, and then when they get to secondary school, then they'll pick a third language, and it's just like,
Bloody hell!
gee, like I passed German, but I don't really remember much. And what I probably do
I
remember is probably offensive.
I did French for a little bit of time in school, but I couldn't enjoy it. I didn't like my teachers. I had a teacher who had a stopwatch, right? So anytime we'd be talking throughout the lesson and she had to stop, she'd stop in the middle of the room, right? He'll hold this stopwatch up. And we'd all just be sat there going, what are you doing? And she's there like, all the time that's on here, you're gonna give me back at lunch. And we were like, yeah, good one. See you in a bit.
I I had French for I think 3 years, and then I dropped it and just focused on German. 'Cause school I went to, you had to study 2 languages for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
Talk about confusing, Jesus Christ. But my French teacher didn't speak French either. She was just a substitute teacher. My French teacher had been ill and I'd never met him. And for like 2 years, I just had this substitute teacher that didn't like me. So I would everyone's just playing on the computers or doing whatever. I always remember having her for history. And my mates had flipped my desk. I'm just sat there. She's writing on the board. They flipped my desk. I'm just sat there like, really, boys? She turns around, she's like, you're always a pain in French. She locked the classroom door, went to go get one of our teachers. I was like, you can't lock us in a room.
What the fuck?
So then it's like Great Escape. I lead about 10 people out 'cause these big open windows. Like it used to be like a massive hospital during the war.
Oh yeah.
So, and we was on the ground floor. So we open the windows, jump over the bush that's in front of them. And then, yeah, I don't think she was allowed to work at our school again because she locked students in a classroom.
What the fuck?
But yeah, so
How
French.
did she leave you there for?
Oh, we was in there for about 10 minutes until
Yeah.
she could find somebody to come see us. And it was after 10 minutes, we were like, no, we're not doing this. We'll go find them ourselves, and jumped out of our window.
Oh my god.
I
That was
wouldn't,
mad.
I wouldn't mind if it was me, but I was genuinely like,
It wasn't me. What the
yeah. So I wanted to be quite cool with her because half the time with French, I'd go in, sit down, get my mark, and then she's just oblivious on her phone, and I walk out. Like it was the only class I ever really did it with, and I'd walk out, and I never got repercussions because I think she'd never realised until the end, and then if she says, I didn't realise they walked out.
You can't do
Not gonna
that,
look
can
good.
you?
Yeah. Um,
Bloody
but
hell,
yeah,
imagine that. Oh yeah, I never realised the student left.
yeah, and it'd be like two or three of us. Sometimes half the class is just walking out and not like nothing.
And what
I
year
think
was this? Like, what year at school were you in?
it'd have been year 9.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Someone would have collared me back then. They'd have been like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh,
And like it was the only one that I ever skipped because I was just
did
like
no
it's
other teachers
pointless.
like stop you or anything?
No, I'd go off the school campus.
Oh, fair enough. Oh,
Um,
that's fair.
yeah, we'd go off school campus because it was always the period before lunch,
Oh,
or it was always the period before we leave. So it was like
yeah.
I'm either getting an extra hour for lunch or I'm going home an hour early.
Bloody
But
hell.
yeah, she just was absolutely oblivious. But I started learning Swahili when I went to Africa. That
Yeah.
was interesting. Um, so weird.
Our friends over at Powered 4 TV are giving listeners to this podcast an incredible 50% off your first month when you sign up to powered4.tv and use the promo code JONAS. Powered 4 TV are one of the leading on-demand streaming services in the UK with tons of shows from over 20 wrestling promotions from around the UK and the US, including TNT Extreme, Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, DNA Pro Wrestling, Full Force Wrestling, Ignite Wrestling and so many more. There's also plenty more to enjoy, including an incredible archive of classic matches, live layers with William Eva, podcasts and so much more. Sign up to Powered 4 TV today and save 50% off your first month. Just use the promo code JONAS.
What company was it in Belgium?
Pro Wrestling All Star. And they run loads of shows. They're absolutely great. I can't wait to go back. Like
Yeah.
they've said to me after our school closed down and everything happened there with speaking out and everything.
What school was it?
It was Runcorn Wrestling Academy.
Okay.
So the trainer got outed for doing some very suspect, not okay things.
Yeah.
And we were all megally disappointed with what has happened, and he never even spoke to us afterwards. He never said, right, the school's shutting, sorry for what I've done. The only contact we got was a Facebook post, and we were like, oh, right, okay. Not directed to us, the trainees who've been there for years, but on a Facebook, just a general Facebook post that you could miss, saying that I'm sorry that you felt this way. And it was like, no, that's not the answer, mate. Like, come on. It was terrible. But they messaged us, messaged quite a few of us and reached out and said, once everything's calmed down with the COVID and everything, we'd be more than happy to have you all over again. And we'll see what we can do once that time comes.
Oh, brilliant.
So they were amazing to reach out to us like that.
Yeah, no, that's great. Where are you going to go train now?
Well, after lockdown, the first one ended, and we were allowed to go and train for a bit when the restrictions were eased. I started going to train with Zach Gibson and James Drake at Fighting Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was probably the best decision I made. I absolutely love training with them too.
Yeah. Was you thinking, why didn't I do it sooner?
Yeah, I did a bit because Zach had trained previously where we'd been, and he understood what he could be like because me and him had some disagreements sometimes, but basically Zach understood, like he was like, I know where you've all been and what it's about, and yeah, it's just great to get to know them as well, and like the way they train is great.
Yeah. What is it about the training that's different and that's so good?
It's just that Zach and James take the time with teaching you. Like Zach, on one of the last training sessions I was able to go to, he took me and Jack, who's my tag partner, Jack Sinclair, aside, It was we did a practice match basically for in front of everyone, and he was like, "You could do this, you could do that," and basically Jack does. Do you know the neck breaker that Okada does, where he picks them up like in the air raid crash, hooks their head, and drops them on the knee? He does that, and Zach was like, "Well, why don't you do that and then hit the air raid crash?" And he was just giving us loads of ideas on how we could differentiate ourselves and do these different things and do different moves. And he does that for everyone.
Oh, that's great.
James does the same. He has a very critical eye, and he'll give you the detailed analysis of what you've done to the the last thing. And it's like, oh my god, I didn't realize I could do that. Do that, and that will get a better reaction than doing this.
Yeah.
So a lot of that.
So, because I know you worked for RWA, was that Runcorn?
Yeah, that was Runcorn. Yeah.
So obviously, must be a little bit like bittersweet for yourself because that's where a lot of your work was coming from. And cause weren't you champion there?
I've been a it was called the Next Level Championship. It was like the equivalent of the Intercontinental title, so the mid card belt, and I'd been a 2-time tag champion as well.
Oh, brilliant! Let's talk about that then. Like, how did you feel getting those moments?
The first time when I won the tag team title was with my tag team partner at the time, Kay Lynch.
Yeah.
Me and him won it as a part of the group called the Fox Pack. And the first time when you win the title, I was like, it's that special moment because it's that first time it's ever happened. Like, I know people say, oh, it doesn't matter and it's fake and everything, but I think that first one is like kind of special.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh my god, that's what I've looked up to, like growing up and everything. So like, obviously, I've grown up seeing the Hardys be the tag champions. I saw Rock and Sock be the tag champions. I was like, oh my god, that'd be sick. And then you finally win it, and you're like, oh my god, that's mad. And then I think the one that you have on your own as well, the first one you win by yourself. I know it's obviously fake, so you're not actually working with anyone, but except for the person you're wrestling with. But the first time you win you one on your own, it's a bit like, oh my god, it's not me and him, it's me on my own now who's won it. And then the last one that I won was with Jack, so that was cool because it was me and Jack have always been really, really good friends since we started training because we started training at the same time. So that was kind of like, oh my god, we've won it together kind of moment as our own group that we've been going out and doing things together with.
Yeah, definitely, and I think you need to give yourself more credit. Like, although yes, it's predetermined, I still think, and the titles are somewhat props to a storyline.
Yeah,
I still think they still need to be respected because the fact that you're getting put in those positions, it's not only a prop for a storyline, but it means you're still representing the company and you're still being given that position of trust. So I get what you mean, where you go from tags to singles, 100% get what you mean, because as a tag, it's because you and somebody else is doing good, whereas when you get that singles push and get given the title, it's because what you've been doing by yourself that merits such a prop, such a title.
Yeah, it was that's what I mean. It was just, it's like that moment where you've broken out on your own and people are seeing what you're doing as opposed to what we're doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a like, oh my god, it's me on my own, time to carry myself and show what I can do.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of your favourite matches so far then?
Oh, my match with Dave Dalvecchio at Pro Wrestling For You was a big one. I really, really enjoyed that. I believe that's on the Pro Wrestling For You Facebook page if anyone wants to see that. That was one of my last matches I had. Obviously, my match in Belgium, that was amazing because it was my first time I've gone abroad.
Yeah.
My title defense, which is on my YouTube channel, of the Next Level title against Brian Aidenson, that was always a special moment because that was the moment where Brian was coming into his own.
Yeah.
And he was stepping up onto that stage where he could be like, look, this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And I always took great like pleasure in like putting someone over like that. I was like, we're going to get you over with your entire gimmick and what you want to do, because he's got like mixed martial arts backgrounds. It's what he carried on into wrestling. I was like, right, we're going to get that over as best we can with everything you want to do, and I wanted to show exactly like why he's beating me basically.
Yeah.
And like that's on my YouTube channel, and you can see that, and the crowd absolutely go mad for it at the end. And there's where the camera used to be, you could hear the people in the back.
Yeah.
And you could hear them. There's a bit where we're both on our knees, and we're hitting each other, and I just slap him right in the face, and you can just hear it just go, and everyone back behind the curtain just go, oh.
Class.
And I can never miss out my matches with Rabid Riley. Those were always my favourites. Those were like the matches that I don't know how to explain it, but made me kind of like what I did for Brian in a way. What Rabid Riley did for me. Like I stepped up. We were always like, because we started around the same time, so we were always on that similar level, but it was just that me and him got that platform together to move up.
Yeah.
Because he was the champion and I was the challenger. And it was like, we needed that platform to step up together, and we did.
Oh, brilliant. I'll put the links and descriptions and stuff, links to the matches in the description so people can check those out. So you mentioned the crowd, where the crowd was really into it, and obviously in Belgium, somebody was chanting Brexit at you. What other like standout crowd moments have you been a part of?
Oh my God, right. It's one of my favourite stories to tell. So it was the match where I won the title from Rabid Riley. And it was this big blow-off match because we'd been wrestling each other for months.
Yep.
I can't remember how we got there, but I had Rabid Riley in a chin lock, holding him there, and the crowd was a bit quiet. I was like, I was whispering in his ear, and I went, oh shit, mate, they're a bit dead here, aren't they? And he was like, yeah. And I'm there like ragging him around, trying to get something going. And he just went, watch this, mate. Don't you worry, watch this. And he puts his hand out, like reaches out for the crowd like that. He just looks at this kid in the crowd and he just goes, help me. And I was like, even in character, I was like, what the fuck's this? He's reached out and said, help me. And this little kid just looks at him back and just goes, starts clapping. And I'm like, I just whispered in his ear, like, what the fuck did you do? Oh my God, he just whispered out like in this proper like croaky voice, like I was strangling the life out of him, just went, help me. And this kid just went, okay. Just got
Did anybody else join in with a kid?
Yeah, people got onto it, and the crowd started to come up for the going into the finish. And I was like, fucking hell, okay. I was like, that was the day I was convinced that Freddie was magic and could do things that I don't think anyone. He's got mind control, basically. He is Wonder. That's what I've decided over these years.
Excuse me.
There was also a moment that same night, because we had that match earlier on, and it was our Rumble show.
Yeah.
So I came out at number 1 for the Rumble, and I lasted all the way to the end, where it was me and him, the last two. And there was a feud between myself and Jack as the front line with Matt Fox, because we were part of the Fox pack.
Yeah.
And there was a story going on separate to this, that we had enough of Matt and what Matt was doing and what Matt was telling us to do and everything. So me, Jack and Stacey kicked Matt out of his own group, and we renamed it the Front Line.
Yeah.
And then Matt went away for a little bit because he had some personal things going on. He had a kid on the way. So he went away for a little bit, and he came back at that Rumble show, and that got a good reaction.
Yeah.
Because it was his first show back. I say, and he came back, and me and him were wrestling through the Rumble, because Jack was the heavyweight champion at the time. And then Rabid Riley Freddie came in as well. And we kind of teased that a bit. At the end, then, me and Matt are going at it. Freddie and Jack, his brother, who had been in a feud, were going at it. So we were the final 4. So it was like 2 stories in there. I eliminate Matt, which got a big reaction. Was like, oh my god, he's actually eliminated him. Matt grabs my foot, I pull it away, I super kick him, and then I turn around and I'm absolutely like fucked at this point because I've been in there for like nearly an hour of people coming in going, oh, because you're the Iron Man, people are like, can I do this spot with you? Can I do this spot with you? Because everyone knows that you're going to be in there. You're the only certainty. So like my wrist tape, I used to tape up my hands, but it's all hanging off at this point, and it's wet and it's horrible. And there's pictures on my Instagram somewhere of me, and like my wrist tape's like half hanging off. All my hair that I've done earlier was in my face and like horrible, and I could feel like the hair gel where like the wax that I put in like in my eyes, and it was like, oh, this is horrible. I turn around and there's Freddie sat on the bottom rope, and he stands up, and the crowd just starts coming up. And like I hit him, and you get the big old yay boo going on, and like we're like teasing eliminations. Like we did the Big Show and Rock elimination from Royal Rumble 2000, except we didn't mess it up. We did so I picked him up on my shoulder, running towards the top rope to just throw him out. Slips out the back, and he pushes me, and I go over. And because I was so knackered, I didn't post either on the edge of the apron, and I just gone over the top and just went poof.
Gonna embrace the fall.
I was just like, oh, all right. I was like, it's not the worst thing that's happened tonight, but I was like, that's just clattered me on the apron. I was like, and it was that loud that when I landed on it, the cleaner who was cleaning up after we'd finished the building comes up to me and goes, "You all right, mate? That sounded horrible when you fell." Because it was just boom, and then you just hear me at the floor and just went.
Oh, like I can just imagine because of how much you'd been sweating as well, because you've been going an hour. Like that is just gonna clap on that.
Yeah, because even when Freddie was hitting me, you could hear it clapping.
Yeah.
So he was sweaty as well. So every time we hit each other, it was just like it was just proper wet clapping.
What made you be like known as the Iron Man? Was it just from that Rumble or?
Yeah, that was literally it, and I've just kind of stuck with it, and just because I enjoy doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it's just if anybody ever wants to ask me to do it, I'm like, yeah, no, it's already in my Instagram bio. Look, I did it once. It was basically just for me at the time because I've been asking to do it for so long. It was just my own, like, I'm going to just put it there because I did it and it's for my own, I don't know, like, because I just wanted it there because I did it and it was that accomplishment.
Who is anybody else to tell you you're not the Iron Man?
Exactly. I went around posting like that video of Tony Stark at the end of Iron Man where he goes, "I am Iron Man." Just went posting it everywhere after the day after because I'd won the belt. I was walking around with the belt and I was like, "I am the Iron Man." Oh, you should have seen me the day after. I was absolutely shattered.
Oh, I can imagine walking like John Wayne.
Yeah. Because me and Freddie had the match earlier that went about 15-20 minutes, and then I was in the Rumble for over an hour, or just coming up to an hour. I was like, no, not moving today.
Like, what companies would you be mainly working for now? Then, obviously with RWA no longer being.
Yeah, we have shows that I usually work Wrestle Island.
Yeah.
It's based out of Birkenhead.
Oh, yeah, because when you announced for the Prospect Tournament...
that was meant to be happening behind closed doors, but a number of things, is obviously with lockdown, like...
Yeah,
coming back,
more restrictions and...
Yeah, and the tier system at the time and everything. It just keeps getting pushed back.
What's your thoughts on, like, your experiences with Wrestle Island? Because I only ever hear... good stuff. Like, is it Paul that runs it?
Peter Blackham.
Peter.
Yeah. I've never had a bad experience working there. I've wrestled a triple threat with, again, Rab Riley, Freddie, and Alexis Falcon.
Yeah.
I've wrestled it was a multi-man match to go to the final of the Prospect Trophy.
Yeah.
I hope I'm getting that right. And it was me, Brian Aidenson, Oh my god, Alex Cupid. Oh my god, oh my god, everyone's names just escaped me then. Billy Norton was in there. Sure, I'm missing some other people in there, but we were all in there at the same time, and that was a big match. I say big, I mean like the quantity of people in there, and it was we were just all having to huddle around backstage, going, right, so you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do that, and I'm gonna do. And it was just it was like, right, we've got to get this perfect, otherwise, because it was like dominoes.
Yeah.
So everything had to fall down at the right time, because otherwise it would be like, if one person missed their cue, it would have been like, fuck, right. Now we've all got to go around each person and tell each person what's happening. Do you remember that moment where Dolph Ziggler was in the Elimination Chamber and somebody's pod broke? I think it was Mark Henry's broke. And you can just see Dolph Ziggler skirting around on the floor, going up to each person, telling them, right, we're going to do this now, this. And you can hear him on the camera.
Yeah.
Because he's having to shout it in people's ear, like, we're doing this. Plans have changed. And he's going around, like, audibly telling people what to do. It would have been like that. Like, someone would have had to scurry around the outside of the ring, like, going, oh my god.
Surely Mark would be able to smash through that, though.
Oh god, yeah. That's what I thought that. But I think it was because Mark was stood in the pod going, oh fuck, what's happened? And he just came out, and I think I can't remember what year it was. I think it was like 2014, 15, something like that. You can see Dolph Ziggler just scurrying around, saying, "Right, this is what's happening now."
If you was able to do your own elimination chamber, like somehow some company in the UK has managed to get a chamber, the pods are working. It's not like this new chamber. It's like the original chambers where it's going to be like hell, essentially.
That's the one I want.
Who are you booking in that match with yourself?
Oh my god! Right, so we got 6 people.
And why?
I've got to have myself in there.
Yep.
So that's one.
Are you going in as the number one since you're the Iron Man?
Yeah, of course. Lasting to the end. I'm going to eliminate everyone. This is how it's booked. I'm winning. So I've got to have Rabid Riley in there with me, because I think knowing him and being such good friends as well, he'd love it.
Yeah.
And I just know me and him would take some stupid bumps for each other. I'd like to have Jack in there as well. Oh my god, I'm going to just booking all my friends.
I know. Fucking Jeff Jarrett. You're booking yourself to win and you're booking your mates.
It's just WCW from the early 2000s, isn't it?
Pretty much.
I'm going to book Kevin Nash in there. So I'd have to have Jack in there because he's my tag partner. I need that protection. I need someone to come protect me from the chamber. Oh my god, I'd feel bad if I missed out, my friends, because this is like the mad opportunity to have your mates in elimination. That thing you've grown up like going, what if me and my mates just went in an elimination chamber together? Yeah,
so we got so far then.
So it'd be me, Jack, Rabid Riley. I'd want to book someone big in there as well. Do you think I could book The Rock? Can I have The Rock in there?
Why not? You're gonna have The Rock.
There we go. That's my childhood hero. I've got to have him in there. And that's like all the budget gone. So that's it. Oh, if it's anyone as well, like, I always said I used to say that I wanted to wrestle Walter because I thought that'd be mad because he's massive and he chopped the shit out of you. But I think he's
back through the pod.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. And he's such a good worker to watch. I love watching him. I'd have Brian Aidenson in there because I've had so many good matches with him. So I've got The Rock, me, Jack,
Walter.
Freddie, Walter, and I've got one more.
1 minute. There's you, Jack, Walter,
The Rock.
Rabid, Brian.
Ah, yes, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, see, we got there, and you was probably gonna bump one of your mates back off.
Oh. Yeah. And there we go. I think that'd be decent. I think it'd be fun. I just
I'm glad I chose.
you're doing whatever you want, and the Rock's just there looking at Walter, and it's like, yeah, okay, boys, you just you want. I'm just gonna go sit. I wouldn't even come out of the pod. I'd be number 6 because I just want to watch it.
I'm hoping to do Mania for LA because I think that's when we're gonna get the Rock's last match. I reckon when it's in Hollywood.
Yeah, I
So,
think maybe it's going to be a long burn though, isn't it, for that? Because obviously it's going to have to be Roman.
yeah.
Can't see any being out but Roman. Could be Austin. Austin would threaten to beat you up again the other week. Did you
I
see that
think
where he was saying that it was some quote. He was like, "I'd still whip the Rock's ass, and I'm 50 years old."
that'd be great. Like, I'd still love it.
Oh, I'd cry. I'd be in tears.
And yeah, I don't know how they'll stretch it because what Roman's doing at the moment seems very much like it'd be him and Rock in maybe Dallas, but
Yeah.
I don't know if because Dallas is still open. Like Dallas is business as usual, more or less.
Yeah.
I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast with the Undertaker, and he was on about Taker was on about so many people from like California are moving to Texas because it's business as usual essentially. But
Yeah. I
if
was
ev-
listening to that.
if everybody's going there, then
Oh, yeah, it will start spiking, won't it?
yeah,
I did read something the other day where they were saying that LA isn't planning on doing any big events till 2022, and that's why they
no,
bumped it back.
yeah.
So it's like it's going to be a long wait for that WrestleMania match, but I think it'd be worth it, wouldn't it?
To be fair, I think they could stretch what Roman's doing for another year. I reckon
Yeah, is LA in 2022 or is it 2023?
2023. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
Performance Center this year, then it's Dallas, then it's LA.
Was it Performance Center this year? I thought it was going to the. Oh God, what's that?
Oh, where they're doing the Thunderdome, is it?
No, I thought it was doing the Bucks Stadium, the one with the ship.
I'm not too sure.
Because I believe they're having people in for it.
For this year?
Yeah. I believe so. I believe they're seeing what the Super Bowl do this year.
Fucking hell. I didn't realise.
And then I heard a rumour that they were going to try and tour with the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Because they, I think they're getting moved out of their arena because I think ice hockey's starting again or something. I don't know.
I've kind of been out of the loop. I've not really watched much WWE recently. I think I got so far behind, like, obviously, with, like, my daughter and whatever. I just end up watching stuff with the missus more than what I normally would.
Yeah.
And she's not into the wrestling. So I watched from 2 weeks before Survivor Series up until past TLC before the Rumble. And I didn't have enough time for the next couple of weeks. I thought, right, I'll just jump in at the Rumble. But so I'm kind of out of the loop of what they're doing. But I think, yeah, it has to be Roman and Rock. That has to be Rock's next match, surely.
Yeah. Well, I was convinced for a little while that The Rock was going to win the Rumble this year. Just for that little bit, because I was like, could we get fans back in for the Rumble? Would that be the time for him to win it?
Yeah.
Because then I thought if we get fans back, I thought he'd definitely be back.
I think they can't do Rock and Reigns without having full capacity.
No, you can't. You just couldn't, could you? It'd be a waste.
Yeah, it really would.
You can't waste that moment of. Well, firstly, however The Rock gets to WrestleMania to face Roman, you can't miss that out. Without, you've got to have fans there for that big return, because it will be like a oh my God, he's back again kind of thing.
How would you want it to happen?
I'd want him to win the Rumble.
Do you want him to go after?
I know people would kick off, but I'm one of those people. Like, I don't care as long as it's a good story. I enjoy seeing Goldberg back.
So did I, to be honest. And I got fed up with some of the stuff that he was doing. It was one of the where I don't mind if he's got a match at Mania, but I would have hated if he won the Rumble because I was thinking if they're doing Reigns and Goldberg at this Mania, they can get to that without Goldberg winning the Rumble.
Yeah.
I feel. I was so happy for Edge to win.
Oh, I was as well. I was proper like, oh my god, it's happened. Like I marked out.
Yeah.
At first, though, I was a bit disappointed because Daniel Bryan got eliminated, and he was my pick in our big sweepstakes that we were doing. I was convinced he was winning, and I was like, oh.
The kid that I was having a video call with, he'd have won like 250 quid if Brian had won the Rumble.
Fucking hell.
And it was because he puts the bet on before like Christmas. So like before it's around November, December time, he'll put the bet on. And he put bet on for Bianca Belair to win the women's and Brian to win the men's. And
Did he do it on an
Belair,
accumulator, or did he
Yeah.
get? So he didn't get anything.
Nope. But the worst thing is,
Fucking
it's
hell.
the first year in about 8 years where he's not called the correct winner of the Rumble. So he was annoyed that that's ruined as well.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous. He had a streak going and everything.
And then it
Fucking hell.
fucking came in like Brock Lesnar.
To be fair, he could just say that he still got it right because he got Bianca Belair right.
Nah, I think he said to me, he was like, and that's my fucking streak over. I think he needs it where it's continuing to go. But
Oh, poor fella. Fucking hell, that's gutting.
I don't know. Who do you want Edge to face?
Oh my god. I probably Roman.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm desperate for Edge to win. That's the thing that I said it on the Broken But Glorious podcast the other day. I was like, I don't care who he faces. I just want him to win.
Yeah.
I don't think he will win because I think he's the kind of guy to put over either Roman or... Sure, he could even face Finn.
Yeah.
Because they've been teasing that, but I don't think that's happening. I just want him to win because I want that feel-good moment to culminate. I think Roman would be the best person to do it against because even if you have him win, Roman's still going to come back. I don't think Roman is in need of the win only because I think the belt needs him at the moment and not the other way around.
Oh yeah. I think it's the same with Drew and Roman. I think they're making the belts because I think both of them have just been so lackluster for years. I think somebody need to cost Roman though. I think the way Roman's been since coming back is being a different animal. So to have him lose clean to Edge would be a bit too far, in my opinion. As much as I love Edge,
I see what you mean. Maybe we could have Jimmy get involved.
Yeah,
that could be the big thing because then you could either have Roman go back to the title and Jay go after Jimmy and have that feud.
Yeah,
so I think that'd be good. Or, you could have Roman go after Jimmy with Jay.
Yeah,
and there's things you could go over with there, and you could have Christian involved as well.
Yeah, because I still don't feel Jimmy's going to fall in line straight away.
No, I don't think so either.
And I think that's a way they can maybe stretch it a little bit more, where he's broke down another member of the family. And you know what I would like though, for if they are doing this, the person to eventually beat Roman, like Rock had beat him. I think Roman had beat Rock.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Jacob Fatu in WWE against Roman.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Like the stuff he's been doing as MLW World Champion, it's ridiculous. Like I always remember seeing there was one clip and I ended up putting it as a GIF where I can't remember who he was against. It might have been Filthy Tom, and he'd gone for like a cutter. Fatu being a big guy as well, like he's like Rikishi, Umaga kind of build. Does the handstand to reverse it, kips back up, runs, hand springs onto the ropes, and does a moonsault on Lawler on the floor. And I'm just like, how can he be doing that? Like, I think he's an absolute animal.
If Lewis, he always does the handstand spring off the ropes.
Yeah.
And he's a big guy, and it's like, fucking hell, okay.
Yeah.
Because when he first started doing it, when we went to Belgium, he'd been doing it a few times, so he was a bit unsure. And I looked at him and went, "Just do it, mate." And he was like, "I'm not sure." And I'm just like, "Why are you being scared, mate? Just do it." Like proper like playground style, like going,
Yeah.
"What? Can you not do it, mate? Is that what it is?"
What would you have done if you got injured by doing it?
If the rope snapped and he I'd have walked away slowly because I think I was on before him, so I'd have gone and hid. I couldn't get home without him because we had to get the same flight home, but I'd have hid until, like, just put me in the boot and just don't tell him where I am. Came back and went, "That's your fucking fault."
Right. What are your goals in wrestling then?
Oh, such a broad question. I always get asked that on
So maybe like short term, like domestic base. Like, is there anybody you're craving to get in the ring with, or any companies you wanting to work with? Like, I listened to your show with Broken but Glorious, but obviously since then, and some of your goals or destinations may have changed because of the speaking out. So many companies have changed and we don't know what they're going to be like. For example, Progress. I know they're doing the build and kind of starting from scratch, but
yeah.
what companies are you wanting to work with in the UK, and what opponents are kind of like that checklist for here in the UK?
I'd love to work for Progress, especially with their connections with WWE and everything. That'd be a big one to work for. Rev Pro obviously as well because of their ties with New Japan and everything like that. That'd be it'd be good to work for. Just them big companies that I'd love to just get to that point where they'd want me to be on their shows. I'd love to get to that point where I'm that viable for people to want me.
Yeah.
And just to be able to get out there more and spread my name. I wanted to go to over to Germany last year before everything happened. Like I planned it out with another lad called Harry McKenny.
Yeah.
We'd planned. I was waiting because he was a few years younger than me, so we were waiting for him. I said, "Well, we'll wait till you turn 18, and then we'll look at going." And we were like, "Okay." So by the time he turned 18, we were all in lockdown. He spent his 18th birthday in lockdown. I spent my 21st in lockdown, and we were just there looking at each other like, "Fuck's sake."
Yeah. Like, where was you going to go in Germany?
I was looking at going to WXW to just go
Brilliant.
over there and train and see what we could do because Matt Fox, who I'm good friends with as well, he'd been there before.
Yeah.
He'd gone over there. He'd absolutely loved it. He trained with Walter and Timothy Thatcher when he was over there, and he said you've got to go. So I just said right. I said I'll wait till I get a bit older because I was must have been about just turned 18, 17 at the time. So I was like, right, well, when I've got money to go, I'll go. So I saved up some money. I was like, I'm ready to go. I'll do it. I was scrounging money off my dad, like, "Oh, can you pay for this if I go this year?" And he was like, "Yeah, as long as you pay me back and everything." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine. I'll do that."
When I'm rich and famous, Dad, I'll pay back all the IOUs.
That's the one that I'd go for because when I was at college and everything, and he was giving me money to go to training and to get around to shows and everything, I was like, when I'm signed, Dad, you'll be getting that money back.
When I faced The Rock.
Exactly. That's what I always say when I'm wrestling The Rock. To be fair, I used to say to my sister I was like a B-Tech Rock because I did a load of acting work at one point. I was in a film called Tolkien. So I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just the B-Tech Rock."
You're the pebble.
Exactly. My sister used to call me.
What's that ultimate goal then? Like, I feel like WWE would be that for you, but obviously there's so many different companies around now, and Japan. There's so many opportunities in Japan. Like, what would be your ideal destination?
I'd love to go to Japan to wrestle for New Japan. That'd be amazing.
Is it only for New Japan, or would you be interested in like Dragon Gate or Noah?
I think I'd wrestle for any of them to be honest, but I think that the main goal would be to get to New Japan and then work your way back the way you've come and go
Yeah.
to, well, obviously it's like a massive pipe dream, but to go to New Japan and then come back and work for either AEW or WWE, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But I'd just love to get to New Japan because I love Okada and that whole style of wrestling and Suzuki, and just to be around it.
Yeah.
And to learn from what they're doing, and then being able to implement what you've done before, and like taking your experiences and putting your own ideas on it, like with like what AJ Styles has done perfectly, and what Kenny Omega did.
Yeah,
I think that's the ultimate path in wrestling. I think what they've done is like they've done everything that you could do.
Yeah,
and they've done it the right way, and they've done, like AJ was in Japan, he wrestled Okada, he wrestled Ibushi, he's taken what he learned over there and brought it back and put it forward to the Western audience.
Yeah. You know what? I think, like, to me, Styles and Okada's probably up there with the Omega Okada matches for me.
Oh God, yeah.
Just because I loved TNA and Impact. So I grew up like AJ Styles was one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it's just the way the match is structured. I think finishes a dying like art form now. Like people are kicking out that don't mean as much, whereas that one only took one Rainmaker, but for the full match they tried getting themselves into the finishes and finding different ways to avoid it and reverse it and stuff like that. And I just think I prefer that and only one finisher to do the job rather than somebody kick out a finisher, they kick out their finisher, and then it's next finisher wins kind of match.
I've never been opposed to it as long as it tells the right story.
Yeah.
Like with Omega and Okada, like where they show what it means, and like how Kenny doesn't want to give up, and and he was, because obviously he did the whole spot where he did the dive through the table, and it's like, this is what it means to Kenny Omega, he will not die kind of thing. Like Matt Hardy version 1, I will not die kind of stick. And then he was just kicking out. I enjoyed that. And then obviously they had the time limit draw where Kenny collapsed under the Rainmaker. But then in the final one, Okada goes to hit the Rainmaker, hits the Rainmaker, but then he collapses. Yeah. And that trilogy of matches, I think it's like the ultimate form of storytelling.
Oh, 100%. And I think they did it the right way, I think. And I think when I talk about like finishes, like look at Cena. As much as I loved like his US title run and stuff like that, and I think he's very underappreciated by a lot of people and can fucking go in the ring, all of a sudden, nearly everybody was kicking out of the AA.
Yeah.
And then it kind of removes it away from me, whereas I like it where, like look at Moxley with a paradigm shift, like a good DDT, and it means a lot more.
It's like Omega with the One Wing Angel. Nobody's ever kicked out of it except for Ibushi, I think.
I believe so. I'm not too sure.
I think it's only Ibushi who's ever kicked out of it. But like it's just well protected. I think the thing with Cena though is that he feels like he just doesn't need to protect it anymore, because it always gets a big reaction though when someone kicks out of it, even still. Like to us who watch it, and obviously I wrestle, and then you're doing the podcasts and everything in between. I think we have more of a critical eye, but like with the casual fans,
it's still big for them.
Yeah, like if you watch that Rumble match with AJ, people are still going mad when he kicks out of the AA.
Yeah.
And even like when he does the double AA, everyone's like, "Oh my god, as if he kicked out of that." Because even I thought, "Oh my god, that's it."
Yeah.
He kicked out, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, I think it's probably just me being overly critical. I just feel we're getting to a stage where people have to do so much more.
Oh yeah.
And I do like some of the simpler stuff, but I feel like we could probably talk forever and ever. And we'll definitely have to do like a second one. But just before we wrap up, New Japan, would you take the dojo? Look at what it's done for Gabriel Kidd.
Yeah, no, I would, because he got massive.
He's fucking jacked, isn't he?
I was like, yeah. If someone said to me like, "Yeah, you're gonna go train at the dojo," okay, it's gonna be fucking hard, but let's get into it, and I'm going to come out the other side looking massive and have an entirely different appreciation for wrestling.
Yeah.
Because over there you've got to work for it.
Yeah.
And I believe if you haven't got a true shooter background, there's things you have to do other than just the training. You've got to do stuff because you're not got that real wrestling experience.
I'm not too sure. I don't know Gabe's background because I know because he was in the LA dojo as well. So getting to live in LA, training under Shibata, like
that's the dream. You get moved to LA. You say, oh yeah, you're just gonna learn from this guy, and it's Shibata, and you're like, okay. He was one of the hardest men I've ever seen. That match he had with Okada, where unfortunately, obviously, what happened with him, it was such a good match.
I know.
You could not tell that man was about to collapse and get taken out on a stretcher. It's a match that I honestly say, I say to people, I go, I know what happened afterwards and everything, and how fucking horrific it was, but it's such a good match with the storytelling.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's incredible. Like, I've seen Shibata wrestle twice in person.
Yeah.
Night one was against Zack Sabre Jr. and then night two was against Chris Hero.
Bloody hell, those are 2 matches, aren't they?
And
oh my God.
Do so good. Like on night one when it was Sabre Jr. and Shibata, Hero faced Ishii as well. And that was just a ridiculous match. I remember
How
seeing.
was this?
It was Rev Pro, one of the Global Wars, I think it was. Like it was stacked. There was Naito, there was Jushin Thunder Liger on the card.
When I went to watch Rev Pro with New Japan in Manchester, they had a lot of big names. They had Okada and Zack Sabre there, but that was and a few others, but nothing like that. That's insane.
Which one was it in Manchester that you went to?
It was the one after Okada had dropped the title to Omega, so he was wearing his disco pants, had the balloons, and Zack Sabre Jr. beat him. I think Walter faced the Tokyo Pimp.
I've only... Which Manchester one did I do? The Ungovernable one. So I've got a picture where it's myself and all of Los Ingobernables de Japón, apart from Takahashi.
Oh my God, that sounds sick.
I'll have to try and dig out the picture somewhere. It's so cool. Like Naito's amazing. Like he's just so fucking good. I feel like we're gonna go on another tangent, and I feel like we've already gone over the hour. So we'll definitely have to do it again, just to talk all things Star Wars, Marvel, wrestling, and
just going an hour and a half.
I know, mate. But no, it's been great talking to you. Like it's again so easy. It's as if you were one of the boys, really. Just talking stuff like putting our glasses on, pushing them up whilst talking about comics.
The phone keeps trying to fall out.
Where can people find you on social media?
I can be found on Twitter at Lance_Revera, and the same on Instagram. And then my Facebook page is Lance Revera Playboy Prince. And you can also find all my merch at lancerevera12.bigcartel.com.
Brilliant. And they'll all be in the description.
I have YouTube as well. Sorry, I cut you off there, but I've got YouTube as well. That's just Lance Revera, and it's full of videos of me.
Fantastic.
And my lovely friends.
I'll put all those in the description, so check out the merch, check out the YouTube. Make sure you do follow Lance on social media. Make sure you hit like, subscribe. I've been Johansson. That is the Playboy Prince Lance Revera. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
Friday morning.